Arsenal arrive. Ahead of Chelsea FA Cup, clash inside the camp, tactical focus, and the weight of a London derby perfect. Here is part 2 of the 15,000-word special feature, continuing seamlessly from part 1. Same style. Long form, professional football analysis, no citations, deep tactical and narrative focus. Tactical blueprint, predicted lineups, and the battles that will define Arsenal versus Chelsea in the FA Cup 1. Tactical overview, how Arsenal intend to control the tie. FA Cup football often tempts teams into emotional, end-to-end chaos, especially in London derbies. Arsenal under Mikel Arteta, however, have been built to resist that temptation. The defining principle behind Arsenal's approach to this Chelsea clash is control before aggression. Arteta's Arsenal no longer chase games blindly. They suffocate opponents through structure, positional discipline, and calculated pressing. Against Chelsea, this philosophy becomes even more critical. Key tactical objectives for Arsenal: dominate central midfield zones, control build-up phases to slow Chelsea's tempo force, Chelsea wide and limit central penetration, capitalize on transitional moments rather than forcing attacks. Rather than trying to overpower Chelsea physically or emotionally, Arsenal aim to outthink and outposition them. 2. Arsenal's likely system: fluid 4-3-3/3-2-5. In possession. On paper, Arsenal are expected to line up in a 4-3-3, but in reality, the shape constantly morphs depending on phase of play. Out of possession compact, 4-4-2 mid-block wingers drop to protect fullbacks. Central midfielder screen passing lanes. In possession 1, fullback inverts into midfield, backline shifts into a 3-2 base. Front 5 stretch Chelsea horizontally. This positional flexibility is designed to overload Chelsea's midfield, isolate Chelsea's fullbacks. Create half-space opportunities for Arsenal attackers. 3. Build-up play. Breaking Chelsea's press. Chelsea are likely to press aggressively in phases, particularly early in the match. Arsenal's build-up strategy will focus on calm progression rather than risk-heavy vertical passing. Phase 1. From the back, goalkeeper acts as a third center-back split wide inverted fullback offers. Central outlet Arsenal will look to bait Chelsea's press before exploiting space behind it. Phase 2. Middle third control. Once the first line is broken, Arsenal aim to slow the tempo, circulate possession force. Chelsea to retreat. This is where Arsenal's technical midfield becomes vital. 4. Midfield battle, the heart of the match. No area of the pitch will matter more than midfield. Chelsea may have athleticism and energy, but Arsenal possess structure, intelligence, and positional discipline. Arsenal's midfield responsibilities. One player anchors and protects transitions. One controls tempo and circulation. One attacks the half spaces. This balance allows Arsenal to dominate territory without exposing themselves defensively. What Arsenal want to avoid: open midfield duels, end-to-end transitions. Isolated defenders. Arteta's instruction will be clear: win the match in the middle, and the rest follows. 5. Predicted Arsenal lineup: FA Cup versus Chelsea. While rotation is expected, Arsenal will not weaken the spine of the team. Probable 11 goalkeeper: first choice or experienced cup keeper, depending on fitness and rotation. Defense: right back, disciplined, defensive first option. Center backs: one ball-playing leader, one aggressive duelist. Left back: likely to invert into midfield. Defensive midfielder: screening, recovery, structure. Central midfielder: tempo controller. Advanced midfielder: creative connector between midfield and attack. Right wing: direct, high work rate. Center forward: intelligent movement, pressing leader. Left wing: 1v1 threat, chance creator. This lineup prioritizes balance over flair, which is essential in knockout football. 6. Chelsea's expected approach and how Arsenal counter. Chelsea are likely to approach this tie with intensity, physicality, and transitional speed. Chelsea's likely game plan: High press in early phases. Quick vertical transitions. Target Arsenal's fullbacks. Use pace to stretch defensive lines. Chelsea will want to turn the match into a series of moments rather than a structured contest. Arsenal's counter strategy. Slow the game with possession. Draw Chelsea. Out of shape, exploit spaces left by aggressive pressing. Control emotional momentum. If Arsenal can survive Chelsea's early intensity, the balance of the match should shift. 7. Key individual battles. Battle 1. Arsenal midfield controller versus Chelsea press. If Arsenal's deepest midfielder can evade pressure and distribute calmly, Chelsea's press becomes ineffective. Battle 2. Arsenal wingers versus Chelsea fullbacks. Arsenal will look to isolate wide defenders, creating either crossing opportunities, cutbacks from the byline, central overloads. Battle 3. Arsenal center-backs versus Chelsea transitions. Chelsea thrive on quick counters. Arsenal's center-backs must hold a disciplined line, avoid stepping out unnecessarily, communicate constantly. One lapse could decide the tie. 8. Set pieces, a hidden weapon. F. Cup matches are often decided by set pieces, and Arsenal have invested heavily in this area. Arsenal's set-piece focus, crowded near-post routines. Second ball positioning, blocking runs to free key headers. Defensively, Arsenal will emphasize zonal discipline, aggressive first contacts, clear communication against Chelsea's physical presence. Set-piece concentration is non-negotiable. 9. Substitutions and game management. Arteta's in-game management has evolved significantly. Rather than reactive substitutions, he now plans phased changes. Possible substitution triggers: protecting a narrow lead, increasing tempo after 60 minutes, neutralizing Chelsea's wide threats. Fresh legs in midfield and attack could be decisive late in the match. 10. Emotional control, avoiding the derby trap. London derbies are emotional by nature. Arsenal's discipline will be tested by physical duels, crowd reactions, refereeing decisions. Arteta will demand no retaliation, no reckless fouls, no loss of shape. Winning the emotional battle may matter as much as winning the tactical one. 11. What progression would mean for Arsenal? Advancing past Chelsea would send a powerful message. Arsenal remain FA Cup contenders. Squad depth is reliable mentality, and big away games has improved. It would also reinforce belief across the squad and fan base. 12. What elimination would cost? Failure would not define Arsenal's season, but it would raise questions about rotation strategy, big game execution, squad depth in knockout formats. That reality adds weight to every decision Arteta makes. Conclusion of Part 2. This FA Cup clash is not simply about tactics or talent. It is about who controls the narrative. Arsenal arrive with structure, belief, and a clear plan. Chelsea arrive with intensity, ambition, and home advantage. The team that imposes its identity will advance. Arsenal's current situation. Where the club truly stands at this stage of the season. 1. The bigger picture. Arsenal at a critical point of the season. Arsenal are entering a decisive phase of their campaign. This is the moment where early season momentum either evolves into sustained contention or begins to fragment under pressure, fatigue, and expectation. The FA Cup clash against Chelsea arrives not in isolation, but at a point where Arsenal are juggling league ambitions, squad management challenges, growing expectations from fans and media. The psychological weight of being seen as a finished project, not a rebuilding one. This context defines Arsenal's situation more than any single result. 2. League form and consistency, progress with pressure. Arsenal's league form has shown maturity and control, but also signs of strain. What Arsenal are doing? Well, controlling matches through possession, conceding fewer high-quality chances, managing difficult away fixtures better than in previous seasons, showing tactical flexibility when Plan A stalls. Where concerns exist: occasional lack of ruthlessness in front of goal, heavy reliance on core players, dropped points in matches where dominance didn't convert into goals. This creates a situation where performance levels are high, but margins remain unforgiving. 3. Squad situation: depth tested, not broken core players carrying. Heavy loads: several key players have logged significant minutes across competitions. While their quality remains unquestioned, the risk lies in physical fatigue, mental burnout, reduced explosiveness late in matches. Arteta is acutely aware of this and has been forced into calculated rotation, especially in domestic cups. Squad players under scrutiny: the FA Cup places pressure on squad players to prove reliability, maintain tactical discipline, deliver without disrupting structure. This is a defining period for those on the fringes. Strong performances can reshape their roles for the remainder of the season. 4. Injury and fitness landscape: Arsenal's medical situation is manageable but delicate. No full-scale injury crisis. Minor knocks and muscle management issues present. Careful load monitoring is ongoing. Arteta's approach has been conservative, avoiding rushed returns, prioritizing long-term availability, accepting short-term rotation risks. This reflects a club thinking in seasonal terms, not match-by-match desperation. 5. Tactical stability versus tactical evolution. One of Arsenal's strengths this season has been tactical clarity. Players understand their roles, their spacing, their pressing triggers. However, opponents are adapting. Arsenal's situation now demands evolution without identity loss. Key tactical questions Arteta is navigating: when to increase directness, how to break low blocks more efficiently, how to protect transitions with aggressive fullbacks. The FA Cup provides a testing ground for these adjustments. 6. Mentality and leadership: the quiet shift. Perhaps the most significant change in Arsenal's situation is mentality. Past Arsenal: emotional swings, fragility after setbacks, difficulty managing hostile away environments. Current Arsenal: calm responses to adversity, better game management, increased leadership across the pitch, less dependence on one vocal figure. This maturity doesn't guarantee trophies, but it creates the conditions for them. 7. Arteta's situation: from builder to deliverer. Mikel Arteta's personal situation mirrors the club's. He is no longer judged on philosophy, culture building, youth integration. He is now judged on results, decision-making under pressure, trophy contention. The FA Cup matters here, not just as silverware but as proof of sustained competitiveness. 8. The FA Cup's role in Arsenal's season. For Arsenal, the FA Cup serves multiple purposes. Opportunity for silverware platform for squad rotation, momentum builder during congested periods. However, it also carries risk: fixture congestion, injury exposure, emotional fallout if eliminated. This creates a strategic dilemma: push hard, but not recklessly. 9. Fan expectation and external pressure. Arsenal fans are no longer asking for progress. They are asking for achievement. The situation around the club includes heightened scrutiny of performances, less tolerance for passive displays, strong reactions to rotation decisions. Arteta and the squad are aware that patience has shortened, not unfairly, but inevitably. 10. Chelsea match as a situation marker. This Chelsea FA Cup tie acts as a diagnostic match. It will reveal how Arsenal handle high-pressure knockout football, whether squad depth can be trusted, how far tactical maturity has truly come win or lose. The performance will shape the narrative around Arsenal's season. 11. Short-term outlook. If Arsenal progress, confidence boosts squad. Belief reinforced momentum heading into league fixtures. If Arsenal are eliminated, focus narrows to league objectives, rotation questions intensify, pressure increases on consistency. Neither outcome defines the season, but both influence its direction. 12. Long-term situation. Arsenal's trajectory. Arsenal's situation is not one of crisis or transition. It is one of expectation alignment. The club is too strong to be rebuilding, too ambitious to accept stagnation, still learning how to convert dominance into silverware. This is the hardest phase for any elite project. Arsenal arrive at this stage of the season in a position that reflects progress, pressure, and expectation in equal measure. The club is no longer defined by rebuilding narratives or long-term patience, but by the demand to convert structure and consistency into tangible success. Performances across competitions have shown a team capable of controlling matches, dominating possession, and managing difficult moments with greater maturity than in previous seasons. Yet the margins remain fine and unforgiving. Arsenal's situation is shaped by the reality that improvement alone is no longer enough. Results and decisive moments now carry greater weight. The squad itself reflects this tension between stability and strain. Core players have accumulated heavy minutes, becoming central to Arsenal's control-based approach, while rotation options are being tested in high-pressure environments such as the FA Cup. This has created an internal challenge for Mikel Arteta, who must balance physical load management with competitive standards. The depth of the squad is not in crisis, but it is under examination, particularly in matches where intensity and emotional pressure rise, such as London derbies. Each appearance by a squad player now feels less like an opportunity and more like an evaluation. Fitness management has become a constant consideration rather than an occasional concern. Arsenal have avoided a full injury crisis, but the season has reached a point where minor issues, fatigue, and recovery cycles demand careful planning. Arteta's cautious approach to player returns and workload monitoring reflects a club thinking in long-term terms, even while navigating short-term demands. This has occasionally limited continuity but preserved availability across the broader campaign. Tactically, Arsenal remain one of the most structured sides in the league, with clear positional discipline and well-defined roles across all phases of play. However, opponents are increasingly familiar with Arsenal's patterns, placing greater emphasis on adaptability. The challenge for Arteta and his staff is to evolve the attack without disrupting the balance that has made Arsenal defensively secure. This evolution is ongoing, with subtle adjustments rather than radical changes, highlighting a team that trusts its identity but understands the need for refinement. Mentally, Arsenal show a noticeable shift compared to previous seasons. There is greater composure after setbacks, improved game management in hostile environments, and a broader distribution of leadership across the pitch. Emotional control has become a strength rather than a vulnerability, allowing the team to remain competitive even when momentum swings against them. This psychological development has been one of the most important aspects of Arsenal's current situation, particularly in high-stakes matches. Mikel Arteta's position mirrors the club's wider reality. He is no longer judged primarily on vision or culture building, but on delivery. His tactical decisions, substitutions, and rotation choices are scrutinized not for intention, but for outcome. The expectation around him has shifted from patience to performance, a natural progression for a manager whose project has reached maturity. This stage of leadership demands clarity, conviction, and results in defining moments. The FA Cup holds particular significance within this context. It is both an opportunity and a test, offering a platform to reinforce belief, involve the wider squad, and maintain Arsenal's historical connection to the competition. At the same time, it introduces risk, adding fixtures and intensity to an already demanding schedule. How Arsenal navigate these challenges reflects their broader situation as a club striving to compete on multiple fronts without losing balance. Externally, fan expectation has evolved alongside the team. Supporters now view Arsenal as a side capable of challenging seriously, not merely progressing. This has sharpened reactions to performances, rotation decisions, and results. While belief in the project remains strong, patience has narrowed, driven by the sense that the foundations are in place and the time for reward is approaching. Overall, Arsenal's current situation is defined by transition into accountability. The team is organized, confident, and competitive, but still operating under the pressure to translate those qualities into decisive success. This phase is often the most difficult for ambitious sides, as progress must now be measured not by improvement alone but by achievement.